Our next guest won a Golden Globe for his portrayal of Prince Charles on The Crown. The fourth season is streaming on Netflix. Let's take a look.
What can you tell us about the actual wedding?
We're not that far on yet, but for now, we're delighted, really.
Why, I see you're going to bring a deep and lasting joy to the nation. And if I may say, you both look very much in love.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Whatever in love means.
Please welcome to the show, Josh O'Connor. How are you, Josh?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I mean, we obviously see from that clip, anybody who's watched the show, of which many have, this is a very buttoned-up family, needless to say. But when Gillian Anderson was here, she showed us some off-camera video, and it does seem like you're actually a pretty fun, happy lot.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of, it's bizarre. We're sort of like, you know, we're obviously playing these very buttoned-up characters, and that video is incredibly embarrassing, obviously, but also it sort of shows how we all were. You know, whenever we're together, we're sort of usually when the whole cast comes together on The Crown, it's for a jubilee or a wedding or something, some grand occasion. So we're dressed up quite smart, but it's carnage. I mean, it's complete carnage. You've got Olivia Colman, who's like up for a dance, Gillian, Tobias. We're all kind of, you know.
It was I think it was very nice for all of us to see Margaret Thatcher dancing to Lizzo, which was obviously, history did not allow that until
Sure. We've all been waiting for that.
Yeah. You, from that clip, we also see what a nice job you did nailing the Prince Charles voice. Did you know much about him going into this?
Do you know what? Actually, I mean, I really didn't. I feel like it's kind of. I guess I was sort of a Republican. I mean, I guess my family and it wasn't something that was like very important to us growing up, and it wasn't something we kind of kept a close eye on. In the UK, there was a spitting image version of Prince Charles, a comedy, or like the kind of sort of comedic version of this, like caricature of this guy. And so that was my sort of perception of him. And it was only when I met up with the guys, Peter Morgan, who writes the show, and Ben Karen, the exec producer and director, that I sort of, when I started speaking to them, I realized it was someone, it was a kind of an incredibly complex character, someone who was dealing with huge philosophical questions, like, you know, waiting for his mother to die for his life to take meaning, which suddenly was like, oh, he's not just a kind of prince. This is a kind of, this is Shakespearean in its qualities. So, yeah, I got really excited once I spoke to them. But in terms of my experience of royal family, I'm the worst person to talk about the royals. I have no idea about anything to do with the royal family. So,
but I think that must be one of the most fascinating things about anyone who's making this show right now, about a family that is obviously still around. And I have to imagine, especially when you're doing press for this show, how often people ask you your take on the current things that are happening with the royal family, be they new babies or, you know, big interviews. Or do you just constantly let people down by having no interest or awareness?
Oh, completely. I mean, I remember we went to the Golden Globes pre-lockdown, pre-pandemic. Went to the Golden Globes, and it was kind of, I was wide-eyed and sort of in amazement of the whole thing. It was the first time I'd been to a kind of major award ceremony. And I remember going, and we were doing the press line, and it was Helena Bonham Carter, myself, and Erin Doherty, who plays Princess Anne. And we were going through, and every journalist was asking us about Harry and Meghan. You know, at the time, you know, they always ask us about Harry and Meghan, but this was about Harry and Meghan. And it came to me, and I honestly I felt such embarrassment at knowing honestly nothing. I mean, it did take a moment to go, who is Harry and Meghan? And then when I realized who it was, I was like, oh, I'm the worst person. So I'm sort of, there couldn't be a kind of less qualified spokesperson for the royal family than.
But it's nice. It must make it nicer to some degree to not have that baggage when you play a part, because then you can play like a character as opposed to, you know, having the haunting image of the real person sort of lurking over you.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I think this is something that I've talked about a lot, but I always think that I've never played a real person before. But I remember when I was coming to this, there was a big kind of, obviously we'd had season 1 and 2 and Claire Foy and Matt Smith, who are unbelievable in playing those, the Queen and Philip. I felt this huge pressure to kind of replicate the real Prince Charles. And so I did lots of work on the voice and lots of work on the way he stands and the way his back is arched and all these things. And actually, it took seeing a Todd Haynes film, the Todd Haynes film about Bob Dylan, to make me realise that actually you don't need to play the real person at all. And this is that film. If anyone's seen it, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's beautiful.
Yes,
because
fantastic.
eight actors playing like not just Dylan, but like aspects of his personality. It's like Heath Ledger plays the sort of like rock star version, and Cate Blanchett plays the most kind of recognizable version of Dylan. But what I loved about it is rather than going, let's try and imitate the real Dylan, because none of us know who he is. Let's try and grapple with the poetry and the essence of someone. And so for me, it was really liberating knowing that I don't know anything about Charles, so I could never do a good version of him. But also, I'm not a mimic, and that was, I found that really liberating. Just going, I'm just going to play him for who he is, for the kind of essence of him, rather than the real person.
The approach paid off. It's really a wonderful portrayal, and thanks so much for being here. I'm a big fan, and hopefully next time you can be here in person.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, the 4th season of The Crown is streaming on Netflix.